Hey, what's up guys? Rideshare Guy here, and today I'm going to be talking about can Uber drivers see the destination before they accept a trip, right? So this is sort of a newbie situation, but I do get a lot of questions about this from new drivers who are frankly just getting started. They see requests come in and they don't know where the request is going, right? And it can actually be kind of annoying and kind of frustrating, especially if you're looking to log off a shift or whatever it might be and you don't want to head in the wrong direction, you want to go home. So for everyone who complains that my videos are too short, I'm going to give you the short answer. The short answer is no. So you can't see the destination before riders accept the trip. And we actually have a good video on how the Uber driver app works. But basically, the request comes in and all you can see is the type of request, right? So UberX, Uber Pool, Uber Select, whatever it might be, surge level if applicable, right? If there's surge going on. And then you can see where the rider is as far as like pickup location. And then you can obviously see the passenger rating. So I'm going to try and show you guys a screenshot right now. Hopefully it'll work and the glare won't be too bad. So that's actually a screenshot I took of a acceptance screen. So like when the request comes in, this is what you'll see. And then you can see right there at the bottom, hopefully it's sort of clear. You can see how far away it is, 1 minute. And then the address, this is Temple Avenue, Long Beach, California, 90803. And then you can also see the rating and the type of ride, 4.91 Uber X, right? So that's basically what you guys can see on the acceptance screen if you guys have never screenshot it or if you're wondering what it might see. Now there is some variation in places like Chicago, for example. You can't see the passenger rating, but for the most part, that's what the acceptance screen looks like. And obviously the big thing that's missing is where the passenger is going. So why doesn't Uber show the passenger's destination? And to me, and I think a lot of drivers who've been doing this for a while, the answer might be sort of obvious, but it's not necessarily one that I agree with. Basically, if Uber would show the destination to drivers, you would have a lot of drivers who would filter out the shortest requests, right? You would have a lot of drivers who would only do certain rides headed to certain areas, who might avoid certain areas, which could cause problems for Uber and drivers too if you're like ignoring passengers going to certain parts of town. So there's sort of all these potential issues, and I think the biggest one though is that a lot of drivers would filter out the shorter requests, right? Obviously as drivers we all want those long profitable rides, and short rides kind of suck because you don't make that much money, right? So this is something that taxis were actually notorious for, is cherry picking rides. So I really understand why Uber does it, but at the same time I think the minimum fare payout is just too low. I mean, that's sort of, sometimes you have to look at the root cause of why drivers are doing this. Why are they doing cherry picking? Because it's not because, you know, they're just like dicks about it. It's because they don't make very much money on a minimum fare. So I think the minimum fare payout is just way too low. In LA, for example, the minimum fare is $5.15. Uber takes their $165 booking fee, 25% commission of the remaining $3.50. And let's see if I can get my math right here. That's like $2.50 or just over $2.50 that the driver gets, which is almost a 50% commission, right, on a minimum fare ride. So basically drivers don't make any money on minimum fare rides, and that's why they don't want them. And that's sort of why one of the most common questions I get from new drivers is why can't I see where my passenger is headed? So that's sort of, you know, some of the reasoning behind it. You know, there's really, you know, I think the easy solution would be to raise the minimum fare for Uber just to $4 or $5 and make that actually the payout, but I'm not sure that'll be happening anytime soon. There's really no way to know, though, definitively where your passenger is headed. But in the past, there have been a couple hacks, there have been a couple tricks, some that I think were okay, some that I think weren't. The first one that kind of comes to mind, and these actually, well, so the first one is the Waybill Hack, and this was basically a hack that doesn't work anymore. I don't think, at least. I haven't tried it in a couple months, but I know Uber closed this loophole a while back, and basically once you accepted the request, if the passenger had entered the destination and you went, and after you accepted that request, let's say the passenger entered their destination, you could go to the Waybill, which shows like your insurance information and all that good stuff, and Uber was actually putting the destination in the Waybill. Now this hack I don't think works anymore. Maybe if it comes back you can check and let me know. So that was one thing that drivers for a while were actually able to see in certain cases. If the passenger had entered their destination, they could see where they were headed. You'll also have some drivers who text or call the riders to see where they're going. which direction, maybe at the end of the night, or maybe you get pulled all the way from LA to San Diego and you only want rides heading back north. I mean, so some drivers will actually call or text the passengers to see which direction they're headed. This isn't personally something that I do. I think it's a little bit too far. I think it's too obtrusive. Probably probably a good topic for another video, but it's not something that I do personally or that I recommend. I'll leave that one up to you guys though. And to be honest, I think the last thing that I want to talk about is just the destination feature, which is sort of solving that problem, right? Of not having to call your riders or text them to figure out where you go. This is something Uber is testing in a lot of cities. It actually popped up on my app the other day when I tried to log off. And basically what the destination feature allows you to do is set a destination. So let's say you get a ride from LA all the way to San Diego. Normally you would have to deadhead all those miles back, but now, or going forward, hopefully in the future, you'll be able to set your destination. Let's say once you're in San Diego, you set your destination as LA, and then you'll only get rides headed in the direction back towards LA. Hopefully you'll get a ride to LA. I haven't got a chance to test this myself yet because they haven't actually fully launched it in LA yet. So it's not live in my area, but I'll definitely have a future video once it's live. So hopefully you guys now understand a little bit about why, well, first of all, hopefully I answered the question for you if you can see that you can't see the destination beforehand, and hopefully you also understand a little bit now why it's happening. So last thing I want to touch on, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of working smarter, not harder. We all watch the money that's coming in, but I actually like QuickBooks Self-Employed app because it helps you track the money going out too, right? Got to think about those expenses. Now, as an independent contractor and a business owner, it's your responsibility to log all the mileage, expenses, and QBSE actually does all that for you within just one app, right? So check it out. Come tax time, you'll save more, pay less in taxes. I think that's something we all want. So make sure you check it out. And then of course, thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to ask me any questions you might have, and I'll definitely get back to you. All right, take care, guys.